Now let's talk about how to buy multiple properties at the same time at once.
If you wanna sell your house very fast for cash, then HouseCashin gets the cash flowing.
So, can you buy multiple rental properties at once? The answer is yes, of course you can. There's nobody that says you can't. It's again, it all comes down to, are you willing to do what it takes to do that? So I can give a personal example. Just a few months ago, I personally bought 3 rental properties at the same time, one of them being a 4-unit property. So we bought, actually it was 6 units all together, all at the same time. And I did that using conventional financing through a regular bank. So anybody that tells you that you can't do that, they don't know what they're talking about. So personally, this is a sensitive topic for me because I wanted to buy rental properties for so many years. And I would talk to people. I worked in real estate, so I had really good resources, I thought. And I would ask, like the broker that I worked for example, can I buy rental properties? Should I buy rental properties? And so on and so forth. And I always got negative responses saying, oh, you can't get mortgages for those kind of properties. You can't get financing. There's all these problems, blah, 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 blah. Well, it turns out those people were trying to help me. They had good intentions, but they did not own rental properties. So they didn't understand what the benefits were and what the solutions were and how to work around these things like getting financing. So bottom line, can you buy multiple rental properties at the same time using financing? Yes, you can. If you have good credit and high income, that makes it a whole lot easier because you can just go to the bank like I did on these last 3 properties. I bought them all at the same time using bank financing. I wouldn't say it was a piece of cake because bank financing is complicated and they request all kinds of documentation, but it was certainly doable and I got a much better interest rate because I was able to qualify and do the extra work. If I wasn't able to qualify, I would simply use the same product we just talked about in the last section, a DSCR loan through a hard money lender. That's the best option for you. The other options include bringing on a partner, which I've personally done as well, and finding a private money lender. So if you know someone that has a lot of equity in their home, they can use a HELOC to get access to capital that they don't need, and they could be willing to invest it with you. And maybe it costs them 5% interest to take out $100,000 HELOC, whereas they can lend that money to you and you can pay them 8 or 9% interest on that HELOC, on that $100,000 personal private money loan, which you'll use to buy your next rental property. And they are getting a good return on their money, which they otherwise would not have been using. So it's a win-win for everybody. If they weren't investing that money anyways, they're paying the bank 5% interest to have that $100,000 line of credit. And you're paying them 8, 9, 10%, or whatever you agree on to use that money. So your friend is making the difference and they don't have to do anything. So they're making a truly passive investment. They're earning a return and cash flow, and they're also helping you to acquire more rental properties at the same time. So let's talk about the differences between those different options. Number one, again, we talked about the hard money lenders. You can use those to buy multiple rental properties at the same time. The challenge there is that if you don't have enough money for whatever down payment or renovations you might need, then you might be limited to only doing one loan with the hard money lender, in which case you have a few different options. You can buy one of the rentals with the hard money loan, and then you could buy another rental with a private money loan or with bringing on a partner. Or you could buy both or 3 or however many rental properties at the same time using hard money, and then use your friend with the private money loan to fund any down payment or any cash that is needed from you. At the same time, in the same way, we can do that with a partner. So if you can use the partner to fund any down payment or any cash needed to close on those deals. So personally, I have a story about this where when I was just starting off, I bought my first rental and I had saved up $30,000, and that was the down payment on my very first rental property. I bought the rental, but I had not done the refinance yet. So I didn't have the money to buy the next one, but I found a great deal. So I went to a friend who I knew that had a good income, and she had some savings that she wanted to invest, and she was interested in real estate, but she was a CPA and she had a full-time job, and she did not want to leave her job to go looking for rental properties. She just wanted to invest that money in rentals, and I was the perfect person to do that with her and to help her achieve that. So I came to her and said, hey, I've got this deal on this rental property. I can handle it. I know how to get the deal and get it rented and make the cash flow. I just don't have the money. So she said, let's partner. That's perfect. So she wrote the check. It was $108,000 total. And that included we purchased it for $97,000. And I believe we spent about $8,000 on renovations. And then we had a couple thousand in closing costs. So we still own that property today. We're 50-50 partners, and every month we make about $1,000 in cash flow that we split 50-50. She makes $500 a month in cash flow. I make about 500. I think it's about 450. And it's a great deal for both of us. She doesn't do any work. I still manage it, but it's honestly, I probably spend a few hours a year on that property. So it ends up being a great deal for me. Plus, I have equity in that property. So as property values have increased, we now have around $100,000 in total equity. So after her getting her initial investment back, she has about 50,000 in earned equity, and I also have about 50,000. So on top of the 500 a month that we each make, we each have about 50,000 in equity for whenever we decide to sell. We can cash out that equity and roll it into the next rental property.
If you wanna sell your house very fast for cash, then HouseCashin gets the cash flowing.